Hello students, welcome to the first session of a new chapter of your NCERT first PUC, that will be chapter number 4, Animal Kingdom. While I had dealt about chapter 2, biological classification, we had left two concepts regarding plant kingdom and animal kingdom. I had told that it will be dealt in detail in third as well as fourth chapter. So we'll start with animal kingdom. Now whole world is filled with large types of animals, different kinds of animals, maybe a multicellular simple forms of animals or multicellular complex form of animals. These are also classified into different categories. They come under different phylum, they come under different class, family, order, genus, as well as they form an individual organism forming a species. Now how did you classify, or how the classification is done, based on what characters? So here initially in this chapter we will be studying the basis of classification. So the first basis of classification will be cellular organization. So when it comes to cellular organization, they are of different forms. First initial form will be cell, then comes the tissue, then comes the organ, then comes the organ system. When it comes to this classification, some organisms have cellular level of body organization. That means cell carries the major functions like maybe digestion, excretion, respiration. All the major functions of the body are controlled and carried out by only cells. So these may include some of the examples like sponges. Next level is tissue level. So a tissue means group of similar types of cell joined together to form a tissue. So tissue level is a higher grade compared to the cellular level. When it comes to tissue grade of body organization, the major functions of the body are not carried by a single cell, but they are carried by group of cells. That is called tissue level of body organization, and this is commonly carried out in phylum Coelenterata. Phylum Coelenterata have this tissue level of body organization, and one more will be Ctenophora, also have the same tissue level of body organization. Third level is organ level. So what is an organ? Group of tissues joined together to form a single structure called organ, and that particular organ controls the major functions of the body. So this organ level of organization, it can be seen in higher phylums. When it comes to Aschelminthus, Platyhelminthes, you can see organ level of organization. And the last level is the organ system level. So group of organs which perform similar functions joined together to form an organ system level, which can be identified in higher phylums. Most of the chordates have this organ system level of organization. When it comes to organ system, group of organs joined together to perform a particular function, forming a organ system. So it starts initially from cellular organization. Advanced organism have tissue level, and higher organisms organ, and the much more advanced organisms have organ system level of organization. So that is about the first basis of classification, cellular organization. Second one is circulation. Circulation can be classified into two different forms. One is open, another is closed. When it comes to open circulation, for example, in any organism, if you consider that it is having open circulation, what happens is, and what happens if it is having a closed circulation. When it comes to open circulation, the blood, it may be a white blood or it may be red blood. So the blood from the heart is directly released into the body cavity. The cells will be freely floating here and they directly absorb the nutrients which are available in the blood. ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಓಪನ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಜೊತೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಇಂದ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಬಾತ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ body fluid. So that is about open circulation. When it comes to closed circulation means here the heart is having certain canals. These canals will be veins as well as arteries which carry the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in case of higher organisms. The blood is never directly in contact with the cell, but they are carried into the cell with the help of veins as well as arteries. That is what is termed closed circulatory system. ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೆಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರದೆ ಕೆನಾಲ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಆರ್ಟರೀಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then only there will be exchange of components required for the cell and the unnecessary components will be transferred back into the blood. So that is about closed circulatory system. When it comes to open and closed type of circulatory system, you can find open type of circulatory system in some of the arthropods, especially cockroaches. You can find this open circulatory, and closed circulatory system you can find in advanced organism. Example, human beings, we have closed type of circulatory system. So that forms the second basis of classification: circulation, open and closed. Open shows the blood being directly in contact with the cells or the cells being directly bathed in the body fluid. Closed have arteries or veins to carry off this blood. That is about second type of classification, circulation. Next is third type of classification. Third type of classification is symmetry. So symmetry, they are mainly of three different types. Symmetry means it is arrangement of the organs or organ system within the body, and if you cut the organism you have to observe them in equal parts. That is what is called symmetry. So here there are three different types of symmetry: asymmetry, radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. When it comes to asymmetry, if the body of the organism is not having any particular shape, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಅಂತ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಥ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯಾವ ಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ಸ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ನೆವರ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಎನಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ಸ್. ದೋಸ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ asymmetrical. So asymmetrical means organisms which can never be cut into two equal halves. That is what is asymmetrical. Radial symmetry means if you cut the organism in any plane, okay, you can cut them in any of the plane, but still you get two equal halves. That is what is called radial symmetry. Bilateral symmetry means if the organism is like this, If you cut them in only one plane, you will get two equal halves. That is what is called bilateral symmetry. Asymmetrical anta ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಎನಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ಸ್. ಒಂದೇ ತರಹದ ಎರಡು ಭಾಗಗಳು ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಎಸಿಮೆಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ರೇಡಿಯಲ್ ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯಾವುದೇ ಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ ಎರಡು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಭಾಗಗಳು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ರೇಡಿಯಲ್ ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಬೈಲ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದೇ ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡಿನಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಹೀಗೆ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ಸ್, or in the diagonal form also you won't get any equal halves, but it should come only in one plane. ಒಂದು ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ you will get two equal halves. ಅಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ bilateral symmetry ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Asymmetrical organization ನಿಮಗೆ sponges ಅಲ್ಲಿ you can see the asymmetrical type of organization, whereas radial symmetry, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Echinodermata, you can identify the radial symmetry. Bilateral symmetry you can find in all the larger organisms, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Chordata, Hemichordata, you can find this bilateral type of symmetry. So that is about the third type of classification, symmetry, which are classified into three types. Asymmetrical, you cannot get any of the equal halves even though the body of the organism is cut in any direction. Radial symmetry, cut in any direction you get equal halves. Bilateral symmetry, you get equal halves only when it is cut in one plane. So next, fourth one is presence of embryonic layer. So there are two different forms. Diploblastic and triploblastic. As the name suggests here, you can see diplo means having two embryonic layer and triplo means having three embryonic layer. So the fourth concept or the fourth basis of classification was embryonic layer. I did tell you that there are two kinds of categories, diploblastic and triploblastic. Diploblastic have two embryonic layers, triploblastic have three embryonic layers. When it comes to diploblastic, I have drawn both the diagrams here. So diploblastic means two embryonic layer I have told. The outer layer, it is called the ectoderm. Ecto means outer. So outer embryonic layer is termed ectoderm. And the inner embryonic layer, it is termed endoderm. So the diploblastic embryonic layers are of only two categories. Outer is the ectoderm, inner is the endoderm. But in between this ectoderm and endoderm, there is a particular thin layer or liquefied layer kind, that is what is termed mesoglia. So this is not a complete perfect layer, but it normally separates the ectoderm from the endoderm, which is called mesoglia. This type of diploblastic layer you can find in all the smaller organisms which come under phylum Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, etc. Next is triploblastic. When it comes to triploblastic layer, triploblastic as the name suggests, tri means three. So triploblastic has the outer ectoderm, inner endoderm. So outer is the ectoderm, inner is the endoderm. In between this ectoderm and endoderm, it has a layer of cells, unlike diploblastic, that is mesoderm. The middle layer is addition in triploblastic when you compare it with the diploblastic. That layer is termed mesoderm. So here it has three layers, outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm. So triploblastic has three embryonic layer which can be seen from phylum Platyhelminthes until phylum Chordata. So that is about the embryonic layer, diploblastic with two layers, ecto and endo. In between they have a mesoglia. Whereas in triplo they have three layers, ecto, endo, and in middle it is mesoderm. So that is about the basis, fourth basis of classification, that is embryonic layer. Next one is the coelom. So what is a coelom? Coelom is the cavity which is present between the body wall and gut. So it is a cavity which is present between the body wall as well as the gut, and it is lined by mesoderm, and it is lined by a layer mesoderm. So now you can conclude that organisms which are having this coelom are not diploblastic, but they are triploblastic because they are lined by the layer mesoderm. So here when it comes to organisms which have this cavity that is called coelom, those organisms are called coelomates. So what is a coelomate? Organisms which have the body cavity which is present between the body wall and the gut wall, lined by the mesoderm, that is termed, or those are termed coelomates, and the cavity is called the coelomic cavity. Here also, based on what type or what category of coelomic cavity is present, they can be classified into three different types. One is acoelomate, pseudocoelomate, and the last one is the coelomate. So as I have told, organisms which carry coelom can be classified into three different categories, that is acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and coelomate. So all the three categories I have drawn here. If you see in case of acoelomate, A means which do not have or it is completely absent. So when it comes to acoelomate, it has a outer layer ectoderm, middle layer mesoderm and inner layer endoderm. Only the triploblastic form of embryonic layer arrangement is present. There is no chance or no presence of any coelomic cavity here. So that is what is termed acoelomate, which can be observed under Platyhelminthes phylum. Next is pseudocoelomate. The name pseudo means false coelom. So here the arrangement will be outer ectoderm, inner endoderm, and you can find patches of mesoderm. Patches of mesoderm are surrounded with coelom which are present around the mesoderm. There is no particular coelomic cavity, but you can find the coelom which are arranged in between the patches of mesoderm. So that is why this type is termed pseudocoelomate, and you can observe this pseudocoelomate in case of phylum Aschelminthes. Last category is the coelomate. In case of coelomate, you can find the outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm which has the coelomic cavity which contains the coelomic fluid, and the inner layer will be the endoderm. So here in case of coelomate, it has a proper arrangement of the embryonic layer as well as the coelomic cavity. Outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm with coelomic cavity filled with coelomic fluid, and the inner endoderm is present. So that is about the fifth category or fifth basis of classification, that is coelom. It can be classified into acoelomate which do not have any coelom present in Platyhelminthes, and in pseudocoelomate they have patches of mesoderm surrounding which you can find the coelomic fluid which is restricted to Aschelminthes. And when it comes to the last category, coelomates, you can find here these have a proper ectoderm, mesoderm, and in the mesoderm they have coelomic cavity which is filled with coelomic fluid, and the inner one is endoderm. So this can be observed from Annelida until the chordata. So that is about coelom and their arrangement. Next, sixth category will be segmentation. So if in any organism, if you see a worm, you can see segments like this. So these segments are not only restricted to the external part of the body of the organism but also internally. So if you cut this organism, you can find the segmentations both internally as well as externally. Now if I'll cut this much small part and open it like this, still I can see the segments which are present within the body. Such segmentations are termed metameres. So individual segments are called metameres. Each segment which is present in the individual organism both externally and internally are termed metameres, and the process is termed metamerism. The process of having metameres both externally and internally in an organism is termed metamerism. So that is the sixth category of classification, that is segmentation. And the last one is the notochord. Notochord, it is a rod-like structure which is present in the dorsal side of any organism which emerges from the mesoderm layer. So, ಮೂರು ಲೇಯರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಟೋಡರ್ಮ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ, ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಸೋಡರ್ಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಎಂಡೋಡರ್ಮ್. ಈ ಮೂರು ಲೇಯರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಸೋಡರ್ಮ್ ಲೇಯರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಥಿನ್ ರಾಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ದ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯಾನಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. This rod-like structure initially is called notochord, which later develops to form a vertebral column. ಕೆಲವು ಲೋವರ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ರಿಟೈನ್ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಡೆತ್ ಇನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಆಸ್ ನೋಟೋಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಹೈಯರ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಸಿ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್, we will have a well developed solid skeletal structure, that is vertebral column, that is emerging from the mesoderm. So based on all these 7 characters, the classification of organism is done. Once again we'll revise. The basis of classification is based on, first one is the body organization or the cellular organization. It will become cell, tissue, organ and organ system level of organization. Second category will be the circulation. They are of two types, open kind of circulation, closed kind of circulation. Next, third category will be the symmetry. That will be asymmetrical, radial symmetrical and bilateral symmetrical. Next is the embryonic layer, that will be 2-layer diploblastic, 3-layer triploblastic. Next comes the coelomic cavity. There are 3 types again, acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and coelomate. Next, after the arrangement or presence of this body cavity, coming to the segments of the body which are termed metameres, and the process is termed metamerism. That is the 6th category, and the 7th category will be the presence of notochord which emerges from the mesoderm embryonic layer, later develops to form the vertebral column. So that is what is about the basis for classification. These bases of classification can be written easily in a chart so that it is easy for you to remember the characteristics and to which organism these characteristics are restricted. So all the basis of classification I have put under a flow chart so that it is easy to memorize. So when it comes to kingdom is Animalia. Level of organization will be cellular, tissue, organ or organ system. When it comes to cellular level of organization, it is restricted to only one phylum, that is Porifera. When it comes to tissue, organ and organ system, it comes from Coelenterata until Chordata. Next, coming to symmetry, there are 2 categories, radial and bilateral. Asymmetrical I have not included because it comes for Porifera alone. When it comes to radial symmetry, this symmetry can be seen in 2 of the phylum, that is Coelenterata and Ctenophora. When it comes to bilateral symmetry, you can further classify it based on the coelom. So it will be acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and coelomate. So this acoelomate is restricted to Platyhelminthes and pseudocoelomate is restricted to Aschelminthes, and coelomates are restricted to Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata as well as Chordata. So that is how you classify the organisms under different phylum. So we'll have to study about each and every phylum in detail. We'll wind up the session at this point. So we'll just summarize what we have studied in today's class. In today's class, we did discuss regarding the basis of classification, the levels of classification into cellular, tissue, organ and organ system, circulation open and closed type, the symmetries, the embryonic layers, coelomic cavity as well as their category, the segmentations, notochords and the systematic arrangement of the organisms into different phylum based on all the categories. That is about the classification of animal kingdom. In next class, we will start to study about each and every phylum in detail regarding the characteristics along with few examples. Thank you.